Welcome to this short video to show you how to access Microsoft Teams and Outlook using a web browser on an iPad or tablet. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Safari or my internet browser, depending on what device you've got. So for mine, it's right down here. I'm just going to click up Safari. And again, I've got an option in here already that says Google. You can see it right there. There's Google right there. If I didn't have, I could just type the word Google into there, click search, and off it would go. So I'm just going to put Google in there. So once I get to Google, I'm going to just type very simply, I'm going to type Office. So if I type in the text box, I'm going to type Office, and I'm going to convert to my number part, and I'm going to write 365, and just push enter. Now, you'll probably see the very top one says Office 365 Log On from Microsoft Office. It's this very top one here. I'm just going to click that, select that, and I'm ready to go. I've now got a Microsoft splash screen, so I'm going to click Accept All Cookies, and I'm going to go to Sign In. Now on the Sign In box, just below the word Sign In, it says email address, phone number, or Skype. I'm just going to select that. Now on an iPad, the keyboard comes up, and we have a new student at the school. We have a student called Harry Potter from the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now Harry, because he's a student, I'm going to type in his first name, Harry, and his surname, P, Potter. I'm not going to write his full name, I'm just going to write P for Potter. Then I'm going to type at student dot Ashley School, all one word, .co.uk, and then I'm going to click next and wait. Now the password is the same as it would be at school, so whatever your password is at school, once you type it in to get onto the network, that's what we'll be putting in there. So I've typed in a password. I'm now just going to click sign in and wait. Now for me, I never stay signed in, it's just something I do, but if you're working on a tablet at home, then you could, and if it's your own tablet, this is one of the schools. Just going to wait a couple of minutes for it to configure. It normally takes 1 or 2 minutes the first time around. Don't worry about that, just be patient. I tend to click around and fiddle around with things and get a bit impatient, and that doesn't help it, believe it or not. So just leave it be and let it do its thing for a minute or so. Right, so we've logged in, we've got into our home screen. Good afternoon, Harry, it says. So that's saying welcome. And we've got a list of icons down the side here. Now these icons relate to Word, Excel and PowerPoint, which might be more useful further up the school. We know that it's difficult to upload documents at the moment, but really we're just focusing on accessing our email and looking at getting Teams. If I click on Outlook, this will be my email, or sorry, it'll be Harry's email, because even trainee wizards get emails. And at the moment there is nothing coming up in the Hogwarts timetable, and you'll see from this morning that they had a Hogwarts lesson that was set up on Saturday. So we've got that there. You can access your emails in this folder. You can see and view them. It's just as normal as being in school with your mail icon, your calendar icon. If I want to get out of that window, I'm just going to click the cross in the corner and I go back to my office screen. If I click the wrong one and it closes everything down, all I've got to do is log in again. Remember, going to Google, Office 365 and putting in Harry P at student.ashleyschool.co.uk. Now, very quickly, that was a quick run through on Outlook. Now I'm just going to talk to you about Teams. Teams is a way of actually seeing you, interacting with you. Using an iPad is great, using a tablet is great because it's got a camera on it so we can see you when we're doing some of those social skills sessions or lessons. If you're using an iPad, it is a little bit more, it just requires one more step, a little bit more complicated. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. The Teams block is there. I'm just going to click that. And I just wait for it to go, and it will probably come up with an error message to start with. Again, don't panic. checking my credentials, can't quite work out who I am. Obviously not a lot of magic going around in the air. So it's saying that it's in preview mode and it is having a problem actually accessing it. It's got a little error at the top. Now that's okay, you can download the app. It's a bit more complicated. You can download the app, then it will ask you to verify it. It will send an identification code to your email, which is your Outlook block. And for us, I'm just going to show you how we can see it all in the browser by just doing one thing in our settings block. Now remember, this is for iPads. For other devices, it will probably go straight there. So I'm just going to show you how to do it on the iPad. I'm going to close that down for a moment. And I'm going to sign out. I'm just going to sign out there. Just going to wait a moment for it to do that. It's important because the next bit I'm going to do means I'm going to need to close my browser down completely. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just closing it down. I'm going to my settings block, and underneath here I'm going to find settings. So for this is for the iPad particularly. Okay, I'm going to look at where it says Safari. Okay, I have to do something in there. So in our settings tab for Safari, which is, remember, this is just for iPads in particular, if you have this problem, you might find that under security, so I'm just going to scroll down, I've selected Safari on the left hand side, I've got a little block there that says prevent cross-site tracking. Now this stops Teams from working, so if you do want to make sure that that's security enabled, once you've finished using your Teams session, come back into Safari and click the box again. But for me, I'm just going to turn that off. So it was on and it's now off. Prevent cross-site tracking is now off, and that's a really important step. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into Safari again, and I'm going to go back into Google. So this is a nice recap. I'm going to go Office 365. It might have remembered it, but remember I closed my web browser down. I'm going up to the top there to where it says Office 365 logon, going in to sign in. It might have remembered Harry Potter in here, it might have done, but if it hasn't, just don't worry. I'm going to put in Harry P for Potter at student.ashleyschool.co.uk. Okay, so I've just got to check my spelling. So I've got Harry P at student.ashleyschool.co.uk. Click on next. So once again, I've entered my password in the box. I'm just going to click on sign in. I don't like it to remember me. That's why it forgot me last time. Of course, it might be a bit quicker for you guys if you do. Right, so we're in again. Now that did take a couple of minutes, and I normally fiddle around and try and do, I get a bit impatient, but just let it do its thing. It did take a couple of minutes and it did get there. So don't panic if it takes a little long. So it's one of those tips to kind of leave really enough time to log on to any of these sessions. So I'm going to click on the Teams block, and hopefully this time it will go to a Teams window and I won't get the error message. So let's wait and see. Brilliant. So you can see that young Harry Potter is in the Hogwarts class. He's part of Mr. Charlton's ICT class. So even at the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, they have ICT and learn about Excel and all those wonderful things. In order to join a session, this is subjective really for another time. But if I just look at the calendar, and it's really a useful part of that. So today's date is the 11th, so it's today's date at the top there. It tells me it's Monday. Now, if I think about this morning, young Harry had an ICT lesson with Mr. Charlton. Now we're in this browser, if we just click on that block, which you can see, you can join that session and you would interact, listen to, see Mr. Charlton. It doesn't have to be an ICT lesson. It could be a social skills lesson, a SEAL lesson, anything else. But it's a way you just click join, and then the person that was organising it, so the member of staff, would let you in. Okay. If I want to leave at any point, I can do that. And remember, I can click my cross in the corner. I'm gone. I'm back into my splash page, and again I can log out, sign out, Wait for it, be patient, don't do what Mr. Wright does and start clicking around, just wait. Okay, once it's done that, this tutorial is really to help you getting, we know it's going to be difficult, we know it's going to be hard to start with. If you are in any team sessions, just remember that lots of other people can see you, so we don't want people sat there in their pyjamas. So although that's, people don't need to be in their school uniform or anything like that, it would be really good if they're just suitably dressed, ready for interacting in a session. Okay, hope this tutorial has been useful to you, and remember, if you do want to check your settings again and go back and switch that across, all you have to do is go back and enable the protection. Okay, thank you very much.